Another week inside UNH women's hockey. Welcome inside the Whittemore Center. Nate Bridges with, this time, the Associate Head Coach of the Wildcats, Jamie Wood. Our first talk with Jamie over the course of this season, towards the tail end of the season. And, Coach, tough weekend last weekend. Boston University here at home, a loss against BU. Then you travel down to the Providence, you fall to UConn. Your general thoughts on last weekend?
Yeah, it was a tough weekend. BU had been playing better of late, and I think they had kind of turned it on a little bit this last week, so got their best game on Saturday, and I give a lot of credit to them. They have a lot of talent. They're a good team, and we played hard for a while, but just couldn't hang in there with them down the stretch. And then on Sunday, a little bit more disappointing to go down to UConn, to a team that we had beaten twice earlier in the season, and then lose that one down there. But we actually played pretty well. We were up 3-2 with 10 minutes to go in the third period, and then kind of gave up a couple of late goals, and they scored an empty netter. But it's you got to take the positives from it, and the fact is we're still in sixth place, so we're still holding on to that last playoff spot, and we have 4 more games to try to get a few more points and make the playoffs here coming down the stretch.
It was a BU team that had to have been thirsty after your ladies beat them a few weeks prior here at the Whittemore Center. But that UConn game, you're right, a little disappointing. But as a squad, as a team, as a coaching staff, you guys have to be happy with the way the schedule has turned out, because you're pretty much playing a bunch of teams here that are really pretty much right in the mix of your playoff hunt right now. Providence coming up. You had UConn a few weeks ago, UConn this last weekend. You had Vermont a few weekends ago, and then Maine in a few weeks. These are all playoff contending teams that you're going to see here if you make that field of 6. When you make that field of 6, these are all teams that you're going to face here down the stretch.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for our players. I know coming off last year where we missed the playoffs, and then this year being so close to getting there, it's been a big focus for us. And then once you get there in one game, anything can happen, as you know, and you just kind of take it one game at a time. But definitely it's an advantage to see some of the teams that we're going to be competing with and play them, and if you can have success, that's something that you can build on going into the playoffs for sure.
So many people in the media, so many fans out there, supporters, parents, they like to look down the road. They like to look at those games coming up on the schedule. How do you keep such a young team focused? Because every game right now is a playoff situation for your team. How do you keep them focused on the game at hand instead of looking too far down the road?
Yeah, I just think when you get to be a college athlete, it's part of what you do is to try to take everything not only one game at a time, but even one shift at a time, and try to do the best you can that particular shift. We talk a lot about controlling the things that you can control, and the only thing that you can control is your next shift and your next game. So you can't really, if you spend energy worrying about things that aren't in your control, then you're taking away from energy from what you're trying to do at that moment. So I think that's the biggest thing, is just to try to stay in the moment and take it one game at a time.
Final 2 home games of the season, really, this weekend against Providence. They come to town for 2. Your general thoughts on this Providence squad?
Well, they're very fast, and they work really hard. So it's going to be a tough game, and they also have good goaltending. So, I mean, we didn't play very well down in Providence, and I think that if we come to play, we can definitely have a better weekend this weekend, and hopefully put out our best effort. And then if we put out our best effort, then it's going to take a good effort from them in order to stay with that and compete with that, which we're expecting. I mean, they're a tough team. They're a tough team to play against, and we'll see. I mean, I have a good feeling that we can make it a competitive weekend here.
Final question for you. It has to do with this final home weekend of the season. Your banquet coming up this weekend here at the Whittemore Center on Saturday, following that first game of the Providence weekend. A lot of programs do it this time of year. The Wildcats historically have gone a little bit later, but the Friends have bumped everything up a little bit following that first game of the weekend tilt. What's that banquet like? You honor the seniors, you kind of put some closure to the season, but at the same point, you still have a few more weeks, hopefully, to go.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons for moving it is because we are honoring the seniors, and I know there's a lot of parents coming in for that weekend, and it just seemed like a really good time and a good thing to do. And I think it gives your players some extra motivation to make it a good weekend on that last weekend of the season, the last home weekend for sure, to have something special planned and have a good end to our home season here. So hopefully we can have a good success on the ice and enjoy a nice banquet afterwards on Saturday.
He's Jamie Wood. I'm Nate Bridges. The Wildcats 2 games this weekend, Saturday and Sunday against Providence. They'll wrap up their slate here at the Whittemore Center, and we'll see you next week inside UNH Women's Hockey.